Hello everyone, my name is Sophia. Welcome to my channel. If you've successfully cast on stitches, congratulations, it was a challenging task. Trust me, with time, you'll be able to do it automatically. In this video, I'll show you how to knit and purl. I'll also demonstrate some simple patterns that you can create using just knit and purl stitches. If you've watched other similar videos, you may have seen different knitting techniques. My grandmother taught me to knit 30 years ago, and I've been knitting this way ever since. It's most likely called the continental style. Whichever method you choose, the result will be the same. So, let's get started. Hold the needle with the stitches in your left hand. We have two yarn tails. One leads to the end of the yarn, and the other leads to the skein. We take the tail that leads to the ball and drape the working yarn over the index finger. And just like when casting on stitches, we wrap it around the pinky finger, like this. This is done to regulate yarn tension and make it easier to hold the yarn. It makes knitting more comfortable and relieves tension in your fingers. Let's begin knitting. Take the free needle in your right hand. I'll start by showing you how to create a neat edge on any piece that is knitted in rows. We will always do this for any project. The first stitch will always be slipped without knitting, like this. Starting from the second stitch, I'll show you how to knit stitches. Look, each stitch has a front loop that is closer to you and a back loop that is farther away from you. When knitting in rows, knit stitches are worked through the back loop. This means that the right needle goes into the stitch behind the left needle. Then I pick up the working yarn from the index finger, pull it through the stitch on the left needle, and drop the stitch off the left needle, like this. Let's go over it again. I insert the right needle into the stitch on the left needle, with the right needle positioned behind the left needle. I grab the working yarn from the index finger, pull it through the stitch, and drop the stitch off the left needle. I'll show it once more without comments. Let's knit all the stitches in the row as knit stitches except for the last one. Now I've knitted all the stitches and only one stitch remains, the last stitch, which is the edge stitch. We will always knit the last stitch of the row as a purl stitch in any piece that is knitted in rows to create a neat edge. I bring the working yarn to the front, so it's in front of the left needle. I will knit the purl stitch through the front loop. What does that mean? I insert the right needle into the stitch in front of the left needle, pick up the working yarn, pull the yarn through the stitch, and drop the stitch off the left needle. We've now completed the first row. Since we are knitting in rows and not in the round, I need to turn the right needle, so it becomes the left needle. It now holds all the stitches, and the left needle becomes the right needle. Let me show you how to purl again. To create a neat edge, we'll slip the first stitch in this row as we did in the previous row and in all the following rows. To purl, I bring the working yarn to the front. I insert the right needle into the stitch in front of the left needle, pick up the working yarn, pull it through the stitch, and drop the stitch off the left needle. I'll demonstrate it again without comments. Purl stitches are challenging at first, so I'll show it again. My working yarn is in front of the work on the index finger, and I can move it. The right needle is in front of the left needle, inserted into the stitch. I grab the working yarn, pull it through the stitch, and drop the stitch off the left needle. Now knit the remaining purl stitches in the row on your own. Knit the last stitch of the row as a purl stitch as well. I've completed the second row, and now I'll turn the needle with the stitches so that all the yarn tails are on the right side again. On the right side, the stitches look like V shapes. 1 and 2. You can count how many rows you've knitted by these V-shaped stitches. On the wrong side, the pattern looks like waves. Let me show you on a finished swatch how it looks when several rows are knitted. Here's a swatch I made. Look, this side is the right side, and this side is the wrong side. This pattern is called stockinette stitch. To create this pattern, I knitted all the odd rows with knit stitches and all the even rows with purl stitches. As I showed you, I slipped the first stitch and purled the last stitch in every row, resulting in a neat, tidy edge that resembles knit stitches. If you knit every row with knit stitches, you get a reversible pattern called garter stitch. In this case, I also slipped the first stitch and purled the last stitch. If you knit all the stitches as knit stitches but with a slight variation, you get a beautiful pattern called waves. It's also reversible and perfect for knitting scarves. This is the pattern I plan to use for knitting a scarf. Look, the patterns are similar, but the waves pattern is more interesting. If you've already mastered knit and purl stitches, you can make a rib stitch. This is 2 by 2 rib, which is also reversible. You can use this rib to knit cuffs or the bottom of a sweater, and this is 1 by 1 rib. There are more interesting rib patterns as well. This one is a French rib pattern, which is also knitted with knit stitches and is reversible. In French rib, if you're knitting in the round, you'll need to use purl stitches as well. But look at this pattern. You can use this pattern to knit an interesting snood, which we will knit together in the future, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Together, we'll knit a scarf, a snood, a beret, a hat, and even socks. And that's it for today. I wish you happy knitting. If you found this video helpful, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!